All right, so today I'm going to give you most of the class period to work on your midterm project. I just want to get started with MongoDB and make sure that everybody can access it. And we're just going to go through the basic steps. So that used to take a lot longer because you had to install it on your machines, but they now offer a free cloud tier. So we are going to make use of free and do that. But every year some people have some issues, so I like to get that done during class time. So we're not going to go very deep today. We're going to do that after the midterm. But you need to know a little bit of basic terminology. So a database is a database. It's the same in MongoDB as it is in MySQL. It holds all your stuff. The biggest difference the two biggest difference in MySQL and MongoDB is MongoDB holds collections, not tables. So you can kind of think of it like a table, just conceptually, in that a table, as we all know, has rows, and it holds, very specific stuff: ID, first name, last name, social security, whatever, right? And so this is MySQL table, and this grows with the number of rows. Wow, I'm a poet, I didn't even know it. MongoDB, on the other hand, has collections, and they're called collections because they hold documents. Right? So as we saw on Tuesday, a document is basically a JSON document with, so just to kind of do the same thing, you'd have an ID, right? 5, first name, John, last name, Bartus, and then social security number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, right? And inside here, you can also have objects. So you might have like address, and that will have its own kind of sub document, but it's inside here with some more information. So it's not quite as linear as a MySQL table because it can have blocks of information in it. And the way that a collection works is, right, it is a collection of these documents. So it's not quite like rows because, remember, they don't have to have all exactly the same fields. Yes. Yes. So these are, technically they're BSON, they're binary, but anyway, documents. Right, so they have little squiggly braces on them and so on. So you can, as of last year, actually enforce some of this like a MySQL database. So you can say, like, your documents have to have an ID, a first name, a last name, and a social security number, and it won't let you create new documents that don't have those, but it doesn't by default, right? By default, every document has its own special MongoDB ID that gets created, a guaranteed unique ID. In its data structure, and again, we'll get more into that later, don't worry about it. So even if you have your own ID field, it will still create one by default for you. But by default, you don't have to have, you could have completely different document structures for every document in your collection, and MongoDB doesn't care. But obviously, in your mind, when you set it up, you're going to have similar documents in one collection, right? So this might be, I don't know, employees, right? And when you have sales, right, you would have it in a different collection with different document structure, right? So in that sense, it's kind of similar to tables. But it is different in the way I want you to think about what is inside it. Really think of it as a JSON document and not a row of data. So, and you will see that today because we are going to go ahead and create an account. So you can watch that video if you want. I don't know if I need to play it for everybody. I think you guys should be able to figure this out on your own. But if you go to docs.atlas.mongodb.com/getting started, and I can post this quickly so you can just grab the link. DB. So I want you to go through this getting started because it will go through signing up for an account. Remember, there's two different accounts. There's your MongoDB like web account, which is how you log into their website. And then you're going to have a separate account for each database you create, right? So kind of like when you go to the MySQL website, you can create an Oracle account, but logging into your database itself is separate. So just remember there's two different logins. One for Atlas itself, which shows all your databases, and then one for each database is going to have its own. So there's a few steps in here. The only other thing I want to say before I go through it is if you want to install MongoDB on your own machine, you can do that. This is what we used to do. So I put it in the slides. Just like installing MySQL locally for the first half of the semester, I think it's a useful exercise, but it is not mandatory and you don't have to. So you can create a MongoDB locally on your own machine for development or whatever you want, but you do not have to. This is only if you want to. And then MongoDB also has a thing called MongoDB Compass, which is exactly like MySQL Workbench. It's a way to connect to your databases from your machine using software on your machine. You can do all of this in MongoDB Atlas. So you do not need to, all of this stuff is optional. You don't need to do it if you don't want to, but I do need you to go through this tutorial. So I'm not going to do that on video because I think that's a waste of time. So just like MySQL, when you go through a server, right, you have to have a connection from your laptop, right, to the MySQL server or MongoDB, right? We are going to use MongoDB Atlas, which allows us to set up our free server. But the way the security works for MongoDB Atlas is it says, what is the address that is trying to connect to me? Is this in my whitelist? So you can whitelist the one you're on right now, which is, RCTC building, whatever it is, and whitelist your home, and whitelist your work, and whitelist the library. There probably aren't that many that you would actually need to whitelist, right? You just type into Google, what's my IP, and it will tell you, and then you just whitelist that. And what that allows is it stops, right, all of these. How do I draw an angry hacker in a hoodie? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so this guy coming from some other IP address gets blocked, right? So you can do that, or you can just allow, I don't remember if it's % or star, if you want to be If you want to allow just all connections, I mean, what's the worst case? They're going to like look at your final project, like database information, like, oh no, right? So you can do either one. You can either list all the places you go to, just Google what's my IP address and then put it into your whitelist, or I'm pretty sure, I haven't logged into this since last semester, but I'm pretty sure they still allow you to just, let any IP address in. They still have to have a username and password. It's just, it gets blocked in here instead of at the door. So, your choice. So that's the only tricky part. If you're having trouble when you write your programs later on connecting, then it's probably because your IP address is not whitelisted, or your username or password is wrong. So I want you to create a database. You can just connect using the web. So there are different ways you can connect. You can, like I said, download Compass. You can just do it using the website, the Atlas website, or you can use Python if you want. We'll do that later too. But all I really want you to do is create an account, connect to the account, create a database, create a collection, and put in a document. So they have you load a sample data set here, which is fine if you want to do that. But that's the tutorial I want you to go through today. And I am here to help.